Hiya crafty folks, Amy here with amyswares, and today I'm going to batch some die cuts. Now here I'm showing you multiple new to me but not new die sets from Erin Lee Creative, and I also have a little bin of scrap paper here that I'm going to use for some die cutting. Now the purpose of this video is to show you one of the ways that I will kind of fill up my binder. If you aren't familiar, I use a system where I pre-batch a bunch of items and have them ready to go. And I have a binder system, which I will show you a little bit later on in the video, so do stick around. And I will also try and remember to link in the video description box a video explaining more about how I use that, how I fill it, how I organize it, and things like that. But it's basically a way that I'm able to save time by doing a bunch of things in advance and at the same time, and then having stuff ready to go. So when the moment strikes or I have a certain product that I want to use, I don't have to stop at every step along the way to create every component of the card. So as you can see, what I did there, I had a whole big old pile of dies there. I took them all out of their packaging. And I just got some paper scraps and fit as many as I could within the little scraps of paper. So obviously you could cut a half sheet of cardstock and probably have even more space. But again, I just wanted to use up some scraps in my stash. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing white on white. You can see I have these word die layers, and then I also have the thicker shadow layers on one of the sets. And these are really delicate, by the way. But the reason I'm doing white on white is because I've found, since I started doing this, it's such an easy way to custom color to match your card. So I have done, stamping, and still occasionally do. I'll stamp in colors that I know I like to ink blend with or work with, so it'll probably match. But it's still not the same as the perfect match I can get when I do something like this. Now here I'm showing you there was coloring on the back side, and it kind of reflected on the shadow, so that's why I did the thumbs down. I did end up recutting that one again, just because I've done that before, and then I've had some of the ink kind of react with the glue and then seep onto the shadow layer, and it's not ideal. So I probably honestly shouldn't have done scraps with ink and stuff on the background, but I thought, meh, I'll use it up and see what happens. So that's all I was talking about there. But anyway, back to the white on white. Basically, you can decide whether you want to do the shadow layer or the word layer. Sometimes I'll do it depending on how fiddly it is. Like those are really tiny dies, so I might be more inclined to do the ink on the shadow layer. But basically, you can take whatever color you're using in your design, whether it's, from ink blending or something like that, and then you can just custom color it, direct ink pad to paper, or you could ink blend it. And then you have a perfect match to your card. So I've really enjoyed doing that. There's sometimes when I'm filling up the binder that I'll do one layer in black and one in white, because I feel like black and white is, such a nice contrast, and it's classic, and it can work on so many different cards. So sometimes I'll do that too. But again, I've really been leaning into the just cutting everything out in white. And then the other benefit of that is you don't need to have a whole bunch of colored cardstock. Maybe you don't want to spend the money on it. Maybe you don't use it enough to justify, or maybe you don't have the room in your crafty space. So there's really a lot of benefit to doing what you can on just the one white cardstock, and then you can custom color it for a perfect match later. So that's my thought process there. I kind of do the same thing sometimes with my sentiment strips. If you've seen any of those that I have batched, sometimes I will white heat emboss or clear heat emboss on white cardstock, and then I'll custom color the strip by going ink to paper, and then the emboss resist of the sentiment will stay white. So I hope that makes sense, but that's just kind of been my trend lately, and it's worked out really well for me. So some of these, especially the ones, the Aloha set, I literally could not even read what the sentiment said. Unfortunately, it didn't say it on the back, so I wasn't even sure, and it had been a long time since I bought them, and shameful of me, I know, but they've been sitting in my bin of items that I haven't used yet. Now here I'm not really loving the hi and love ya together, so I'm just doing a little bit of surgery to make this two separate sentiments. So it's kind of a unique sentiment in that it says hi, love ya, but I just didn't like it. I wanted them separate. So I'm just doing a little bit of trimming there and rounding off the edges just to make them separate sentiments. Now here, I'm really trying to hang on to that little tittle, but this is a way that I will store them. I'll put the tittle on a little piece of mint tape, and then sometimes I'll kind of hook them together with a little bit of mint tape, just so I can store them together in my binder and don't have to search all around. And especially those little tiny dainty ones aren't very strong on their own, and I don't want them to get wrinkled up when I try and put them in my binder. So this is just a way to kind of group them together, so when the time comes to custom color them, you're ready to go. Now here's my binder. Here, this package in the front is kind of really big sentiments or random letters. Now a while ago, and you'll see if you watch that video, I did create separate categories and kind of organized it a bit. Obviously this is many years in the making, and honestly, once you start it and kind of just keep adding to it, it's really not that hard to maintain it. I know a lot of people have mentioned they're jealous and they want to buy my book, but I promise you, with that initial time investment, and then just an occasional kind of touch up like I'm doing here, if you buy products semi-regularly, it's really not hard to maintain this. And guys, I use this all the time, and I make a ton of cards, and I still have so many sentiments in here. So if you're the kind of person that wants to plan out the entire card from beginning to end, and for a specific person, then this might not be the easiest setup for you. But honestly, a lot of times I'm wanting to create the background, I'm wanting to work with stencils or stamps, and then it can kind of go any direction with the sentiment. So this works out really, really well for me to have all this stuff on hand. You can see I'm just filling up these pockets. What these are baseball card protector sheets. I get them from Amazon. I'll link them below, but you can get ones that have a little flap to hold your pieces in. For my sentiments, I tend to do the one without the flap because sometimes they're bigger. And then if it's a really big sentiment, sometimes I'll just kind of gently pull that stitching away to create a bigger pocket. So I'm kind of going, you know, putting the thanks with the thanks, the hi with the hello, and then the encouragement or miscellaneous, depending on my categories. But I find that if I do this every now and again with a new die set that I get, I can really supplement what I have in this binder and keep it nice and stocked. So maybe you're feeling uninspired and you want to be around your crafty stuff, but you don't know what to create. That is a really good opportunity to kind of revisit your dies and create a system like this to have a bunch of products ready to go. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please do hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I try and provide a mix of, you know, card tutorials and things like that, but I also want to show you kind of behind the scenes and how I store things and how I save time with batching. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.